The Pentagon war planners have rightfully said that 90% of modern warfare is informational. That's why it's more important than ever that all of you watching subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at Real Alex Jones, because InfoWars is the front line of the fight. And without your help and support, we will fail. With your support and with your prayers, we will be victorious against the globalists together.
Promise. Let's take a look now, though, as they try to keep the Obamacare on life support and as they try to dictate our health care choices to us. Let's take a look at what this looks like, because there are so many issues that are very important with this baby Charlie Gard in the UK. Today they had another hearing. They still have not delivered the decision on this yet as we go to air. They had a doctor in the United States say that Charlie has a 10% chance to improve. They took testimony from him in another high court trial today. Of course, the high court has already ruled once that they were going to allow him to die with dignity. Well, why don't they allow him to, and his parents, to have a chance with dignity? How about that? Have a chance at life with dignity. And that's what is so amazing about this. And this is what we're going to talk about, the legal basis for why the hospital and the British legal system would work so hard to shut down this young baby's life support. The doctor, who has not seen the child, told the judge that tests on the boy's brains showed disorganization of brain activity, but not major structural brain damage. And they said the small number of people who have Charlie's rare genetic condition would make it impossible to do robust clinical trials. So that's the issue. He has such a rare condition, they're never going to have a situation where they can do sufficient clinical trials. And if we take terminally ill patients and we deny them treatment, which our FDA does all the time, and even going to the extent of locking people up for using medical marijuana that is known to help brain seizures and other issues like that, to lock people in jail, to deny them that treatment. We do that here in the United States as well. It's only going to get worse the more government takes over our health care. That's why we need to move government away from our health care, away from making all of these decisions for us. Now, they went on to say that his parents have raised more than 1.3 million pounds. I'm not sure how much that is in dollars, maybe about 1.7 million in dollars, to take their son to the U.S. to get therapy. The High Court has also been hearing, listen to the minutia that happens when we turn these decisions over to the courts. They've been hearing arguments about the child's head size, which the UK doctors say would indicate a lack of function and possible brain damage. And what has happened is that the doctors have said his head size has not increased. The parents say, no, it has. As a matter of fact, the court heard that the mother had measured the baby's head this morning and came up with a 2-centimeter difference between her measurements and the hospital's measurements. And so the judge said it's absurd that a dispute over his head size was undermining the case. No, what is absurd is the fact that you would have a judge sitting there making life and death decisions and putting, as I said, putting his foot down along with the hospital saying you can't go for experimental treatment. The doctor, as I said, pointed out there's a 10% chance, but the specialists, as it's reported from the BBC, say that they have fought the parents' wishes for treatment because they don't think that it will help. Well, maybe they don't know. Maybe some other doctors know something that they don't know. And so that brings up the issues. Why would they fight so hard? Is it because, as we've been told, their hospital is a worldwide respected authority for children's hospitals and it would make them look bad if there was a treatment that was not invented by them that they got? No, there's actually, that may be a part of it. I'm sure that is one issue. But listen to this statement from the hospital. They say, a world where only parents speak and decide for children, and where children have no separate identity or rights, and no court to hear and protect them, is far from the world in which this hospital treats its child patients. Do you understand what's behind that? In a world where parents, only parents speak and decide for their children, well, we wouldn't want to have that, right? Because your children don't belong to you. We've heard that from Melissa Harris Perry and others. The it takes a village mentality of Hillary Clinton and the United Nations is where this comes from, folks. This has been around for quite some time. This is actually based on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, or the Children's Rights. So it's the UNCCR. And I want to break down what that is for you. From the document itself, they start talking about wonderful principles of freedom and individual dignity, dying with dignity, not having a choice with dignity. They say, bearing in mind, the peoples the United Nations have in the Charter reaffirm their faith in fundamental human rights and in the dignity and worth of the human person. But then, further down, it says the child should be fully prepared to live as an individual life in society, brought up in the spirit and the ideals proclaimed in the Charter of the United Nations. That is who is going to own you. It's not going to be your parents. It's not even going to be your national government. It is the world government that wants to instill the ideals and the charter of that. This is an idea that goes back to Plato, saying that we're going to have the children not even know who their parents are so that we can raise them. They will belong to us. They will do what we tell them to do. They will be our robots. And if you want to know what this looks like, it looks like Charlie Gard, a young child with a rare disease, not being allowed by the government, by the hospital, to go accept free charitable care that the doctor who has created this experimental treatment believes gives him a 10% chance of improvement. Not going to let them take that chance. 8 years ago, I did a commercial for an organization that was fighting this, saying we need a constitutional amendment. We need the United States not only to not join this, and of course the United States did join this, but we did not ratify this treaty. So it's sitting there by a thread. 8 years ago, I did this commercial to highlight the difference here before Charlie Gard. I want to play you that commercial real quickly.
No government, no matter how well-intentioned, can replace the nurturing love of a parent. Yet in the United States, judicial activism and a pending UN treaty are poised to tear apart this most fundamental bond of society. These foreign and domestic threats would undermine the parental role and overrule parental wishes. All parents would have the legal status of an abusive parent, with the state and not the parents deciding what is in the best interest of the child. The relentless encroachment of judges and UN treaties that assume that government, not parents, has the best interest of the child at heart will be stopped by nothing short of a constitutional amendment explicitly stating the rights of parents. Decisions affecting the child should be made by those who know and love that child, not by a distant bureaucracy. You can help protect children by helping those who care the most for them and those who care the best for them, the family. Find out what you can do at parentalrights.org.
And again, that was a commercial from 8 years ago. This has been around for a while. We had the United States join this back in 1995. We signed it, but we did not ratify it. And the opposition has come from conservatives. It has come from Christians who understand that your children belong to parents, to those who love them, not to the state. But what the hospital there, in the case of Charlie Gard, is saying, that they don't operate in a world where only parents speak for the children, where only parents decide for their children. They say, no, children have a separate identity. And of course, that is part of the response here. They're going to have a situation, part of the UN Charter says parents can express their opinion and they can have their opinion heard by the court, but the court will decide what is in the best interest of the children on all issues, not just on the life or death health issues as we see with Charlie Gard. And today during the hearing, Charlie's parents, his father punched the table and his wife said, he is not suffering. He is not in pain. If he was, we would not be here fighting for that. They continue to tell that lie to try to exercise this control over the child. It is pathological what is happening with this.
We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.